Well, Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk has clapped back at critics all the way from Italy, posting to Facebook, quote, "I am on leave. Everyone is entitled to leave. I ask that the media respects my privacy. Stephen Miles is acting Premier. I return on September 11. Very brief message that it is. Well, Stephen Miles has so far had to spend a lot of his time as acting Premier defending the actions or inactions, as the case may be, of his boss.
There was a time when a publication criticised me for taking holidays, greatly invaded my privacy and that of my family, and so I don't have much sympathy for this line of argument at all. However, not long ago, June, July, I took 2.5 weeks off. I took my family to the US. We visited Disneyland and the White House. It was a fantastic trip.
Now, I have no beef with the Premier going on holiday. We all deserve one at some point. But Cameron Dick, the Treasurer, said he wasn't aware there was a holiday.
No, I wasn't aware she was travelling overseas. But to be honest, being that Premier is one of the toughest jobs in Queensland, and everyone is entitled to a holiday.
So I suppose the question is, when Palaszczuk eventually returns from her European joint, what exactly will she be returning to? Joining me now is David Crisafulli, Leader of the Opposition in Queensland. Welcome, David. It just seems an extraordinary situation that you would have a Premier of the state go off on a holiday, which she's entitled to do. I'm not going to criticise that. But people within her own leadership team, the Treasurer, don't know she's going on holiday. How does that happen?
And let me tell you what Queenslanders are asking, and that is, can someone focus on the issues that matter to us? And I can tell you what I've done in the last couple of days. I've been listening to victims of crime, Caleb, and some of the stories at the moment are just heartbreaking. I've stood in 2 small businesses in the last couple of days, and to hear the stories and the impact of having people at a counter with a young 14-year-old holding a knife demanding money, to hear about a shop owner getting beaten up, and then to hear MPs say that this is all a beat-up in the media, it just shows you that the government's priorities just not right at the moment. And my focus remains unequivocally on the issues that Queenslanders are talking to me about, and it's cost of living and housing crisis, it's the youth crime crisis, and it is health. And they're the 3 big issues that Queenslanders want action on, and I want Queenslanders to know that I'm fair dinkum about providing solutions for all of them.
Well, those comments from Labor MP Don Brown that the youth crime crisis was a media beat-up, I mean, we know in the last couple of days we've had people who've been victims of youth crime have come out and said, of course, that they are quite offensive. Meanwhile, you've got watch houses now being turned into youth prisons because they don't know where to put all these youths who are being arrested for youth crime. Queensland has known for years that this is an issue. I've been talking about it on Sky as long as I've been here, which is 4 or 5 years now, and nothing has changed. When will it change?
You're spot on, Caleb. It was half a decade ago that they said that, yep, we've heard the message, the watch house crisis will end and we'll get on and deliver detention centres. They didn't do it. In the same period of time, the number of repeat hardcore offenders in Queensland has gone from 10% to 20%. And that's the worst in the country. If you live in Queensland, you're 3 times more likely to have your car pinched than if you're in New South Wales. And it just shows you weak laws, fewer police, and that is a cocktail with watered-down laws that we're seeing with the youth crime crisis. You mentioned about those comments from that senior Labor MP. He's actually the whip. His responsibility is to set discipline for the team. What he said in calling it a media beat-up, I am telling you, has reverberated throughout the state. I was with somebody today, forget about media beat-up, he was beaten up in his business, just trying to earn a living. And I met another person today who lives on the Sunshine Coast, was broken into in the most brazen of fashion. He and his wife slept through it. He woke up and was absolutely traumatised, both vehicles stolen. They've been sleeping in shift work. She does the first until 1 a.m. and then she goes to bed and then he gets up and defends the property from 1 to 5. That is no way to live. and that is a generation of untouchables who are marauding their way through Queensland, and the solutions are simple. It's consequences for action, it's unshackling the judiciary and removing detention as a last resort, and it's getting serious about early intervention. It's about focusing on the things that Queenslanders want, putting the rights of the victim ahead of the rights of the offender, and it's about getting your mind on the job.
Well, Cameron Dick, the Treasurer who didn't know the Premier was going on holidays, put out something of a manifesto about how he thinks Labor can win the state election in Queensland next year. But it does not at any point mention Anastasia Palaszczuk by name. Do you think by the time she gets back from Europe, there could well be a leadership spill on?
My focus has to be on Queenslanders, and I'll let the Labor Party sort out their own mess. I lead a united team, and we're hungry to serve Queenslanders. And every day when I get the opportunity to sell what we are promoting and what we are focusing on changing for this state, I stay true to those things that I said on day one. An economy built on the back of small and family business, service delivery so that you can have world-class health systems, so that you feel safe in your home, so that your kids can afford to own one day, and integrity in government. They're the things that drive me, and they are the things that I am focused on. And Queenslanders need to know that I'm on their side, and that is my focus. I'll leave all the other shenanigans for the Labor Party. They can sort out their own mess.
Just quickly while I've got you, David, we heard Tom Tate, the Mayor of the Gold Coast, yesterday welcoming the idea of taking the Commonwealth Games up there after Daniel Andrews scrapped them in Victoria. There's not been much entertainment of that idea by the Palaszczuk government yet. Is it something you think ought to be considered?
Look, it's just not my priority at the moment, Caleb, and I think most Queenslanders who are living through the nightmare that is this government want me focused on the issues at the moment. And when I speak with working Queenslanders who are living out of a car, going to work and coming home and living out of a car or a tent, when I speak to people who don't feel safe in their own home, when I see ambulance ramping in Queensland at 45%, the worst in the nation, and people waiting on surgery lists to get a hip, that's got to be my focus, mate. And look, I love Tom having a crack. Good on him. But that's not my focus, I can assure you.
Fair enough. David Crisafulli, thank you so much for your time.